Well, there it is. WTii here with another 1v1, and this is on the map Xel'Naga Caverns, I believe it's called. I almost forgot the name there. Just about got it. I'm pretty sure that's Xel'Naga Caverns, and we can see my opponent is Kaworu. I think that's how you say it. He's the blue Protoss in the 2 o'clock position, and I am the red Protoss in the 8 o'clock position. So, we're just going to speed the game up whilst not much is going on, and this is a really interesting game, to be honest. It shows you what you can do. Actually, I won't say anything. It's so hard. I'll try not to say anything. We'll just get this going until I can actually commentate on something worthwhile. Not much is going to be happening different in a Protoss versus Protoss mirror, except that I'm going for a 10 gate here. Now the reason for that is it's going to be getting a cybernetics core straight down after that gate goes down, and then a simulator very soon after that. Because what I intend to do is I intend to place pylons in my opponent's base and basically warp in units. So you get yourself about 3 or 4 gateways. I'm playing around with this build at the moment. I haven't by no means perfected it yet. There's nowhere near a comfortable bit because I play random, so I don't get Protoss that often. So I don't get to test it that often. I don't always do it every Protoss versus Protoss game. But yeah, it has worked out for me in the past, but there's certainly a lot to learn from it. Maybe a 10 gate is too early, I'm not sure. I guess I was just going for like the full-out rush, as it were. If my opponent was doing different, like if he put down his gateway at 14, then this would be a different matter. But my opponent has actually finished his gateway the same time I finished mine. So, actually no, he hasn't. Scrap that. He's actually finished his gateway only recently. But given the distance between us, he's still fine. He can still repel any attacks just at the moment. Besides, this is all about warping units in anyway, so this isn't really about sending units from one side of the map to the other, so that my opponent has the advantage, because whilst he built his buildings to save 30 seconds longer, the distance is 30 seconds between, so he's fine. No, not really, not really. He's done right thing, because he's gone slightly later gateway than me, because he saw it. He goes a bit more economy, that means he's got a stronger economy coming in, just slightly more income coming in, and you can see I'm getting the warp gate at the moment, whereas my opponent is getting himself a stalker, and also chrono boosting the warp gate. So I saved a lot of my chrono boost. I wanted to get rid of his probe that was inside of my base with my Zealot, scare him off, and then start using cybernetics core. That's put me off. He hasn't managed to distract me. I was asking him about that. Anyway, yeah, my opponent is going to start smacking down another gateway, we can see here, whereas what have I done? I haven't put down another gateway here, so maybe I should have done. I think I definitely should have put gateways down. It looks like I'm going to do it now, so I sort of call myself on that. But is 4 gateways too many? I don't know. I'm not sure if I could support 4 gateways with one base. I'm trying to work this one out. I'm playing a lot of this by ear. I'm sending 2 probes up in case one gets killed, and the Zealots are going to now be becoming aggressive, the ones that were sitting in my base, because I'll be ready to warp units into my opponent's base very soon. He's currently got himself 3 gateways coming up against my 4 gateways. This could look alright for me, but he's got himself a healthy mix. He's got himself a Zealot, Sentry and Stalker. So what else are we looking at here? We're both still researching warp gate. Neither of us have it yet. I've just finished mine, but my warp gates aren't done yet, so I definitely should have built warp gates about 15 seconds earlier. So I'm not going to win the fight really against the Stalker here. There's a good force field, but I might be able to get this Sentry here, which is definitely going to pay off for the cost of the Zealot. Definitely looks like I'll be able to get away with that. My Zealots are coming in aggressive here. This is more of a distraction tactic, so I can place down pylons in my opponent's base and begin to warp in. But my opponent has just finished his warp gate, which means that he can build units 10 seconds faster than a normal gateway can, the same as myself now. So he's in no way behind me, really. In fact, he's somewhat ahead because he's warping in Stalkers. And I'm warping in Stalkers too, but his army is just slightly larger than mine. And when it comes to this, I try to focus fire units down, but it looks like I'm just about going to lose because he's got a Zealot there, and he can also warp in units just slightly quicker than I can. My opponent also has 4 more probes than me, so he should be pulling a bit more income as well over time. Not less, also I spent money on the 300 minerals on pylons there, so that was also a waste. So at this point, it's essentially a good game. If my opponent doesn't mess up and continues to play fine, then he shouldn't really lose this. I have still got a pylon at the back there, and I could warp in Zealots, but it's bound to get killed by all the Stalkers, so I didn't take the risk. Meanwhile, at this point, I was going to leave, but I've seen a game and someone said recently in that game that, you know, if you're gonna lose, don't just leave. Try some really bizarre, strange tactic, and if that don't work, then leave. Because you haven't lost the game until you've completely and utterly lost the game. You know, at this point, you could say yes, an educated guess would say, my opponent's got way more stalkers, what's his army like? He's a larger army than me, he's got himself an expansion coming up, he's going to be very aggressive, I can't really hold off stalkers with too many zealots. What do I do? Well, I have to try something out of the ball here. You know, I have to go mass zealots, for example. Doesn't sound right, does it? But I'm going to get myself speed, like the charge ability for the zealots, and see how well that will work against my opponent. He's being very aggressive here, which is right, because he's going to capitalise on his recent success in our previous battle. And rightly so, he should try and get the best out of it. And he's going to be bringing down my pylons here, which is very bad for me. Thinking about it, I'd rather build my pylons as far away from the ramp as possible looking at this. So this is another thing to look at this game. If you're going to build pylons, make sure it's as far away from your ramp as possible. That way the opponent has to go deeper into your base in order to destroy your heart line, really. Yeah, I really need this charge, but even fully chrono boost in this charge, it takes a long time, so I have to just attack it. I wasn't going to lose too much. Pull off all of my probes, try to surround my opponent. It looks like it's going to work, just slightly. I can't get the full surrounding, but I can certainly get a lot of hits from my zealots here if I did not use those probes. I lose the economy, so my opponent's still sort of winning, even if he loses all of this, because all of that income, I've got half the income on my enemy, so he can continue to spam out stalkers at will if he chooses to. As you can see, his macro has slipped a little bit there. He's got way too many minerals. Now he's starting to making his units, but he's lost almost all of those stalkers, and I've still got quite a few zealots spare. So really, let's have a look at what's been lost so far. As we can see, I've clearly still lost far more resources than my opponent, so he's not by any means lost the, you know, the war here. He's lost that battle, but he hasn't lost the war. So what am I doing now? I'm getting myself a dark shrine, because like I was saying, I can't beat my opponent now. If we're going to say, right, he goes mass stalkers, I go mass stalkers, I will lose, because I lost the first fight. I'm already at a huge disadvantage now, so I have to try something different. I'm giving the zealots a try against stalkers, and I'm not sure if that's working so well. That's Harry, by the way, if you didn't know. He's smurfing on a lot of guest pass accounts because he can't be asked to buy the game himself, and he loves Korean. He's not Korean, but he loves being Korean and learning everything about it. He's a Starcraft 1 fanatic. Anyway, back to the game. I'm also getting myself my Nexus here, because if I want to go Dark Temple, they do get a bit gas heavy. It's 125 minerals, 125 Vespene gas, and one base could possibly support it, but if I can get away with my expansion, I may as well. What have I got to lose, eh? You know, I've already essentially lost the game, like I'm saying over and over. If this is a fair fight and we use exactly the same units, I will lose, because I've lost too much resources in total. Although it's slightly catching up, so the only way I can really come back in this game is to do something really bizarre, something that will catch my opponent off guard, and Dark Temple is a good attempt. Unfortunately, my opponent has got himself an observer and a robotics facility. If he got greedy and just went mass gateways, which he has got quite a lot, to be honest, and just went mass stalker, then this would really mess him up, because he'd have no way to get observers anytime soon, and then I could quite possibly destroy the robotics facility. But my opponent has played it fairly safe. Always get yourself a robotics facility just for observers, because if someone does come in with mass Dark Templar, you can't come back into the game if you can't get your robotics facility up and then an observer, because there's no other way, unless you can build cannons in time. It's unlikely. So I'm going to be distracting my opponent by placing 2 Dark Templar inside of his main, whilst leaving 1 at his expansion.